Thank you for tuning into the Art of Grace podcast, where God is creating a better you. I'm your host, Farah. Today's special guest is none other than Commissioner Sheena Britton of Sanford, Florida. Her story of tenacity, grit, faith, and destiny will certainly inspire you. Listen in as we talk about the art of making history. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Art of Grace podcast, where God is creating a better you. It is Sunday morning, and I am sitting here with someone who I have been waiting to interview for the longest time. This is actually my city commissioner, Commissioner Sheena Britton. And listen, I'm so happy. Since I moved to Sanford, I've been wanting to meet her in the flesh, and I have on other occasions, but I've been wanting to sit with her, to share her story with you, to share her position with you, and to share what she brings to women in our neighborhoods and in our community. I want to read a little bit of her bio, just a very smidgen, because let me tell you something. She has a wealth of I was reading your bio last night, and I read it before, when I moved to the city, and I'm like, she does a lot.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I don't know how this lady splits herself up. If you follow her on social media, listen, she has got a ton of energy, for one, a ton of energy, because she's being pulled in so many different directions. But yet the one thing that I love about her is family. You keep family first.
Yes, I do.
You do keep family first. And she made sure that she told me, first let me check with my family to see what's going on. And so I'm so happy that she's carved out time to sit with me. And not only did she carve out time, she's invited me into her beautiful home. It feels so warm and cozy and inviting. And I am so happy to be here with her. So I'm going to read just a little bit of her bio. And I hate to say this because I don't like to compare people, but you just have that same spunk as Jasmine. She's been in the media like crazy, But let's get back to that. This is going to be so good. So Commissioner Sheena Britton is dedicated District 1 representative on the Sanford City Commission, having been appointed in June 2020 to fill the seat vacated by Art Woodruff upon his appointment as mayor. So he is our city mayor, if you don't know that. Throughout her tenure, Commissioner Britton has demonstrated a deep commitment to transparent governance with a strong emphasis on safeguarding property rights, promoting thoughtful, community-focused development. Her approach to leadership is characterized by meticulous research and a willingness to challenge the status quo to ensure the best outcomes for Sanford's residents. Welcome, Mrs. Commissioner Sheena Britton.
Thank you so much.
Listen, Sheena didn't know this, but I was sharing with her the other day that when I first moved to this side of Sanford, because when I moved to Sanford, originally, I wasn't supposed to move to this area, period, right? I was looking to move to Tampa. And I got a job offer in Lake Mary. And so I lived in Lake Mary for a little while, and then I started venturing a little bit towards Sanford. And when I got my house where I am now, my realtor didn't want me to buy a house in Sanford.
Really?
She didn't. She was like, Farah, the airport is over there. Yeah. It's kind of a growing city. I don't know. So I found my house myself.
Really?
I did. And I was out in the neighborhoods at night with my son driving around looking at houses, and I found my home, and I said, I feel like this is my house. And you know what? I didn't feel planted until I moved to Sanford. I just kept feeling like I don't want to stay here. Like I don't want to stay in Florida. And I also had a really strong connection of friends where I moved from. And so when I moved into my home, the first thing I did is I said, I have to get connected with my community. And I went onto the city website.
Oh, really? Okay.
Don't know what made me do that. And the first picture that I saw was Commissioner Sheena Britton, who was my commissioner for my district. And, these are things that I've never even done. Like I've never looked at, my local government. And I read your bio. But at the time, my sister was running for local office where she was. And I sent your whole bio, picture and everything to my family, to my sisters in our group chat. And it inspired her to run.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what city is she in?
She's like in upstate New York, like up in Buffalo, where it's real cold and stuff. And it gave her that push to want to run because she was the only black constituent, I'm just going to say that, African American, and she was running against a lot of people that she felt like she was going to lose again. She did lose, but she still did it. And I think that she was inspired by just me sending that little bio.
That's awesome. I feel good about that. I really do.
I wanted you to know that.
Yes.
I mean, I did that, and I mean, you being on that side, I'm like, oh wow, I have an African American young commissioner that's over my district, and she's available.
Well, I'm proud of you for doing that. before actually just going to the city website, because that's so important.
Yes.
You go, when you're looking for your house, you look at your kitchen and the master bedroom and the bathroom.
Yes.
But not many people go and look and see, okay, what is this community like?
Yes.
Looking at what the crime is in the area, the economic development in the area,
Yes.
all of those things. So for you to go straight to the city website, that was smart.
It was life changing for me, because I think that it grounded me, because I would have probably still been feeling my way and saying, did I make the right decision? Because I was just getting every bad thing you can hear about Sanford at the time, because I've been here for 3 years. But just within 1 year, the growth, the exponential growth in this area, and just reading your bio, you've had a lot to do with that.
Yeah. It's been a challenge. Now I've lived in Sanford my entire life.
Yes.
I'm fourth generation Sanfordite. So my mom was born here, her mother was born here, and then my great grandmother Mary was here.
Wow.
So like my family has been here before the city of Sanford was established in 1877. So like our roots are like deep here. And so I've been able to watch Sanford grow. Now people say that, like, oh, it once was a bad place. Every city, every state has its growing pains.
Yes.
We've gotten to see a lot of development in the last 10 years than we've seen in the last 50 years. But that had a lot to do with our community redevelopment agency, people coming to Sanford and realizing how much that we have to offer. Because other than Jacksonville, we are the only city that has a major river.
Yes,
beautiful. We have the Central Florida Zoo. We have a major interstate, an international airport.
Yes.
And then we are right on the I-4 corridor.
Oh.
We also have the Sunrail and the Amtrak train.
Yes.
So that is a lot for a tiny little city. It really is. So there is so much to love here.
Yes.
But we had the little... issue, I'll say, and I always try to tread softly when it comes to the Trayvon Martin issue.
That was a big thing for me, coming to this area, was just friends saying that, and then my family seeing that I have a brown son, and like, okay, you're moving, we've heard about that area, and I'm like, it's so sad, it breaks my heart, that it happened, one, and it happened in such a beautiful city, and it was a situation that,
it was a horrible situation that happened between two individuals that were not from Sanford. Yes. And even though my heart goes out to the Trayvon Martin family, and it's so crazy because it happened right on the edge of Lake Mary and Sanford at the retreat of Twin Lakes. And so this incident put Sanford on the map in such a negative way. And Sanford has this title of this racist city, and we really are not.
Not at all.
We are separate.
Totally
and
separate.
It's funny like that, because people say, well, this is where the Black Lives Matter movement began, and we had people like all of the civil rights activists of today's time come to Sanford and say, hey, you need to boycott this restaurant and boycott this business. And that's not what we did. We loved on each other. If you look back in all of the Black Lives Matters incidents, from Trayvon Martin to George Floyd, city of Sanford was the only city that had 0 arrests throughout that whole thing. We prayed for each other. We did not boycott our businesses, because what Sanford's issue is we've just been separate. It's just, okay, we don't mind y'all being here and you being here, but we weren't really mingling until like the 2000s. Downtown Sanford had its own, establishments, and it was not that we weren't welcome. It was just kind of our culture. The black neighborhoods, they hung out together. White neighborhoods, they did their thing. You had the historic district that really wasn't the historic district until like the late 80s, 90s, when they started to rehab these beautiful historic homes. Now
I love driving right here.
And then the city put money back into the city, but all of that takes time. Like our community redevelopment agency, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that's money that those businesses put into that pot. and then we put it back into our streetscapes, where you see the brick streets and all of the beautiful landscaping. We had rehab loan subsidies where you could come and invest in Sanford, and we would help you rehab, facade grants to do the exterior. So it took time for us to get here. We had to develop the historic preservation of the historic district. Now it has moved over to the Georgetown area. And so then it was just kind of like keeping up with the Joneses, you know. And so one house did it, and then the next house, and then we had rules, which I won't go so far into it, but our Schedule S rules that makes you keep up with the historic culture of what is downtown Sanford, you know. So it to me, it has never been this dark shadow place that came out of the darkness.
And that was leading to my first question to you, because you know you're a college graduate.
No, I didn't.
Really?
No, I didn't.
Really?
No, my husband then was at Morehouse, and
you know
I was
what?
at Seminole State.
Can I tell you, I love this. Well, okay. You started out. What made you decide to take that seat?
The seat of city commission?
Yes.
Okay, so I worked for the city for 10 years.
Yes.
10 years. And I started out in the water department, and then I moved up to the city manager's office, and I worked in economic development.
Yes.
And I was so fortunate to have a boss, the director, that always made sure that I had a seat at the table. It was just like, okay, if we're meeting with a new developer, we're doing, you know, in planning out Sanford, I want Sheena here.
Wow.
And so it helped me to grow my knowledge of the city of Sanford. Okay. And then I started going to the commission.
That was your education.
That was my education.
That was your education,
that was
right?
It.
That's huge.
Yeah, I started with the Citizens Academy.
Yes.
I attended all of the county commission meetings. This was before people even knew who I was. You know, just sitting in the back. And I remember one time, one of the gentlemen asked, "Well, why are you here?" And I kind of like, okay, because I'm a resident, because I want to be informed. But he wasn't trying to challenge me. He just wanted to know, was there something specific on the agenda that, you know, why was I coming? But I'm coming to learn. And originally, when you start going to commission meetings, it's like a foreign language. You don't really know what's going on. But after a while, once you get to learn what's actually going on, it's very interesting. And you really get like so involved in development and all of the rules and regulations when it comes to the city. And I could talk all day about, you know, how people perceive that government is, and you don't really understand that until you get into that seat.
Yes.
I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that the average resident doesn't know is that the commission cannot speak to one another outside of that commission regarding anything with the city of Sanford. So people
sounds like an HOA meeting.
Well, when you leave an HOA meeting, you can still talk, you know, to your neighbor. I can call my commissioner and say, hey, I want to, you know, increase development in the Black area, and I'm going to present it to the commission, and I want you to vote on it like that. No, cannot. No. We literally, we can go out to lunch and dinner and talk about everything,
but you can't touch on that.
Cannot touch on that. And most people do not know that. If we're going to a community meeting and it's myself and another commissioner, usually we have to disclose that we're there. And we're always cautious of, if someone is bringing up something that may be voted on at the dais at a commission meeting, usually one of us will step out of the room or we'll make sure to not make any comments, because the state of Florida has very strict Sunshine State laws. And that's really good though, because it keeps you honest. It really does.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So when that seat came available, how did it happen that Sheena is in the running for this seat?
Okay, so they opened it up to, well, our former mayor left. He wanted to pursue something else, and so in the middle of the term. And so the City of Sanford Commission appointed the District 1 Commissioner, Art Woodruff, as mayor. Which that left the seat for District 1 open.
Completely open.
Right? And so they didn't do the whole voting because it was in the middle of the term. So what happened was, each commissioner, which that's why you vote for a commissioner, because they vote on your behalf.
Gotcha.
They opened it up to the public, and you had to live within the District 1, because that's what the rules are anyway.
Yes.
I happen to live in District 1, and you submitted your application, and out of that, they did a run-in of about 7 of us. And so then we had to interview in front of the commission. Now, here's the thing. I loved government, but in order for me to become a commissioner, I had to leave my job, which I had been with the city for 10 years.
Yes.
And then I was a part of FRS, the Florida Retirement System. And so I had started that at 18. So I was just like, Lord, I really don't know. I've always thought about government, but maybe after I retired.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there and watching applications come in, because it was going through the city clerk's office, of the people that would interview for the process.
Are these just random neighbors that are just sending in applications? Who are these people that's just, I want to be a commissioner?
Yeah, well, when they opened it up, they put it in the newspaper, on social media and whatnot, and you went through a process. Of course, you had to be just like if you were running for regular office.
Yeah.
So, but they were my neighbors, because you had to live in in District 1.
Okay.
So one of my neighbors down the street ran. One of the wives of one of the city employees ran.
Yes.
One of the members of one of our city boards. They interviewed for the position, and so I was sitting there at my desk, and the thing about me being a secretary is I sit there all the time, and I'm always observing and hearing things.
Yes.
And I heard something that was unethical, and I just said, you know what? I want to go and I want to make a difference. And I said, Lord, if it's for me, I'm going to put this application in. And if I don't get it, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I did. And I was extremely nervous again, because I would have to quit my job, because it's a conflict of interest.
Yes.
But I can't work for the city manager and then in return become the city manager's boss, which I will have to talk about that.
Ladies, if you are listening to this, this is an extreme walk of faith, right? Because you are married, your income does matter to your home, you have your family that you're supporting, and you are looking to take. It's like a lateral move almost, but it's going up, but yet financially
it went way down. Like the from what I was making as a city employee to what the commissioners make, I mean, the commissioners get $600 every 2 weeks.
Yes, yeah.
So, but everything worked out perfectly, and that's why I believe I was destined for that position, because it opened up other doors, which we'll talk about, of me stepping out with my creativity and then creating my own business. And so anyway, we had the interview, and it was very scary for me because the Proud Boys came out, and they did not want me in that seat, because I'm in District 1, which is predominantly white.
This is a huge district.
It is, because it is the downtown.
Yes.
The waterfront, the entertainment district, the historic district.
Yeah.
It also
and then
has
side where I live, I'll celebrate going out towards Midway.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's so much development that's happening along there.
Yes.
Then it also has the international airport and all of the development that's happening on Lake Mary Boulevard. The city of Sanford has 4 economic engines. 2 of those are in my district.
Wow.
So it is a lot. And since the city was established in 1877, there had never been an African American in this seat.
Wow.
And
I mean, when I say destined, your position at the city of Sanford, you were working in economic development, that education. You're about to grasp the biggest district in the city of Sanford as a young African American woman stepping away in faith. What did your mom think?
Well, my mom already knew it was for me. You know what I mean?
Listen, I met your mom once. I have a really good friend of mine that attends her church, and I went there to visit, and she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Her string.
Yes.
I can definitely see where you get that from.
Yeah.
Don't know if you're as strong as her.
No.
But
no,
because
not at all.
she encapsulates the room.
Yeah.
You know, that's just her energy.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that you pulled a lot from that.
I did. My mom is a true believer, and my dad as well, who passed right before I was elected. Oh my gosh, my dad worked for the city for many years.
Oh
too.
My goodness!
And so he loved it when I became commissioner, but I wanted him to see that I was actually elected by the people.
Yeah.
Because originally I felt like I was just a substitute because I'm basically put there by the commission until the next election.
Got it.
And so and my dad working there for so many years, he completely supported me, loved that I was in office. And he passed away right before the election, where I won the election. Wow. But going back to it,
to the Proud Boys situation. I mean, so how'd you feel with that? Because now you are truly pulling on the heartstrings of the people to believe in you.
And this is one thing that I really I want the audience and those listening to know when we talk about the racism and stuff of Sanford, because every city has its issues, but the Proud Boys tried to paint a picture that I was a racist because I had a picture, because I'm very I'm very open and transparent. And so Pastor Tim Johnson did a prayer in Orlando where during the we were doing the Black Lives Matter movement, and we just prayed. We went from one end of the Citrus Bowl all the way down. I can't remember the street. And we were not holding signs. We just prayed. Yeah. And it was during COVID. And so I had my mask on and it said Black Lives Matter.
Yes, yeah.
And that whole time, nobody captured us lifting our hands up and praying for our city leaders. They just took that one picture that said Black Lives Matter with my mask on. And they plastered that. And then they were like, do we want this, leader of the Black Lives Matter, Antifa. Goodness. I'm like, before they said that, I didn't even know what Antifa was. But this is what was so profound and what made me love Sanford even more than I do. The people here said, that's not her.
Wow.
The businesses, the residents stood up for me and did not allow them to paint that narrative that's who I was. You've got the wrong person.
Yes.
And this is a true Sanfordite, and we love her, appreciate her, and we know who she was. And I just...
That had to just make you just feel so...
It said, and I go back to that on days when I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes.
I go back to that love, that respect, and those people saying, that's my neighbor.
Yes.
And that's why I take on that whole attitude that I'm really not a commissioner. I'm a neighbor representing neighbors.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is.
I love that.
People vote for you so that they don't have to show up to every commission meeting.
Yes.
That's all commissioners are.
Yes.
Sometimes, the people get the title and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I can't approach her. I've got to have permission. I got to have this meeting. No. The only reason I am there is so that I can help make decisions on your behalf.
Yes.
And that's it. I'm no greater, no lesser.
Yes.
I'm your neighbor.
That's
now, I happen to have a set of skills.
Yes.
Because you take those courses and you go to conferences and you're in it every day.
Yeah.
So I breathe government, but that's so that you can rest easy.
Yes.
That we're going to take care of your streets, that we're going to take care of your water, that we make sure that we have ample police and fire and all of those things that make a city run. That's all that I am.
Yes.
And so again, I was so grateful to the people of Sanford, the residents of Sanford, and when I gave my interview, which they recorded, and the city commission was full. They even had the additional chairs in the annex, and it was live. And when I gave my presentation, I literally began to cry because I said, Sanford is my home.
Yes.
I am proud and in support of it. And in addition to all of the things that I talked about of what Sheena is and what she's learned, the cornerstone, the foundation of it, other than Christ, is Sanford, Florida. And I began to tear up. But I addressed that Black Lives Matter issue. And I said, I will always stand up for my people.
Yes.
But I am not now, nor have I ever been an Antifa or someone that would incite violence.
Yes.
And that's the same narrative that outsiders try to paint a picture of Sanford.
Because that's what happened. I remember like I said, I love my realtor, and I lived on the other side of Sanford. And when I moved, she was like, I just don't think it's a good move. And when I found my home and I walked in, I said, this is my home.
Yeah. It has a way of pulling.
I said, this is my home. And I said, okay, let me now jump into the city. And I love the Citizens Academy. Met Lisa Holder. Thank you, Lisa, for getting me in, because I was calling up there every other day. Did my application go through? Like I was applying for a job. Because I just really wanted to just become one with my city. And when I decided to do that, I have just made so many new friends and networks, and I talk about my city all the time.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit though. The Citizens Academy.
Oh yes. So the I didn't know a lot about my city. So the one thing that I did know is about the Trayvon Martin situation, which was heartbreaking. But the Citizens Academy was phenomenal, because I got a chance to meet the mayor, all the commissioners. Our city manager, love him, Mr. Bonaparte. He's so funny. And the Citizens Academy, it just opens up your eyes to what's going on around you, to how the city spends their money, to, what they actually give us. Because, we're here, but they're giving back to us. And I was excited to go every single week. And I have had so many friends that I've recommended to go and to go and experience what I experienced, from the police department to the fire department. You guys were an open book with that. I don't even know how that was created.
And it was an 8-week program, and it came from, like you spoke about, Lisa Holder.
Yes.
And because a lot of times on social media, people get upset. My water bill is high. This isn't happening. This isn't happening. Why are they doing so much development downtown? They're not doing anything in my area. And so they said, let's do like an 8-week program where you go to each department and allow that director and staff members to actually let you know how the city of Sanford operates, where your tax dollars go. And it really opens the citizens' eyes to what really happens. I've done Citizens Academy too.
Oh man, and I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I tell Lisa, I will volunteer. I will do whatever. I mean, it was just so good. And it for me, it makes people be quiet.
Yeah, it does.
I hate to say that, but I mean, for me, I said, oh my gosh, my city offers so much. Our police department, I love our police department, our city chief. They're just givers.
The finance department.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Sanford is a giving little city. I'm like, where do we get the money from?
That's one of the things that I loved when I did Citizens Academy was, I think the last night was the finance department. And you got in a group, and then they gave you a little mock budget.
I remember that.
And it was like, okay, how do I, make sure that we have enough for police, enough for fire, enough for raises? And a lot of times people don't understand that those tax dollars, that all of that money is that is allocated, we have to spend that wisely.
Yes, absolutely.
And you also have to make sure that you have money for those rainy days, that contingency fund. And so, and those few little pennies that we give, that has to cover your streets, the water, everything. So it's so informative, and I believe every resident that takes that class walks away with a better understanding.
Such a better understanding.
Even going down to the trash.
Yes.
The
waste management guys are great. I remember that was probably the funnest experience that I had, going out there with them and just seeing how hard they work. How hard they work. And I wanted to ask you this question: how did you move forward with forgiveness after being slandered the way you were?
It was.
I mean, because yes, you have that foundation of faith, and your mom and your dad, but to the things that were said.
It was heartbreaking. But again, me moving on was that circle of community that I had around me that I did not expect. I knew people knew me because I'm very transparent. I'm always like Sanford's biggest fan. Anytime somebody's doing anything in Sanford, I'm always talking about it. I'll go down with my phone. Hey, we've got this activity going, this activity. And this was before I became Commissioner Britton, right? And so people knew that I was Sanford's biggest fan, and I'm the Bokey girl.
I love it.
But I did not know that people knew me like that. Because I wasn't in a political role. I'm just regular neighbor. And when they put that narrative out, and I mean, they sent it out in emails, and it was a whole website and everything.
Website.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And when it went on social media, the crazy thing is when people try to defend you, they go look at the site, which makes that site more popular every click, right? And then they begin to share it, and it was like, this isn't Sheena, but while you're doing that, you're giving you're more traction, right, to increasing the traffic to the site. And then so I had to go out and tell people, I appreciate you supporting me, but let's not support that.
Yes.
You know, and they did. But what made me forgive that, what made me not take it to heart, was the community standing up for me and
that.
my classmates.
Yes.
You know, second, third, fourth cousins coming out and saying, no. You know, that girl loves Sanford, right?
Yes.
And I mean, all of it, I didn't even know how many selfies and pictures I had taken out in events. People were on Facebook, had tagged me of me and this white person, me and this white business owner, and saying, no, she's, you know,
these are your neighbors, your friends, these are your classmates,
everybody. And so that's what made me totally just have a different outlook on that and press forward. Because of my community, this city that I adore.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. So what do you say to the little brown girls who are looking to do what you're doing? I mean, you've taken a leap of faith. Well, one, you were destined to be in this position. You were destined. You got your education on the job training. I mean, I love that, because I mean, I'm kind of the same way in what I do for my work. And then, you know, just an unwavering faith.
I would honestly, and I tell my girls this, and I'm trying to make sure that I say so I don't cry.
Do they want to do what you're doing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I have 3 daughters. One at Bethune Cookman University, and the other at Florida A&M.
Okay.
And then my youngest is at Seminole State.
Gotcha.
And so the 2 oldest decided to go to HBCUs, majoring in business.
Wow.
And but I love that they want to do that, because you can bring that back home.
Absolutely.
You know.
Well, and there you go again with the back home. People, all roads leads back to Sanford. And so why didn't you leave?
I'll go back. When I was young, my parents, we always went to these church conferences in Tulsa, Oklahoma, every single year. And it was almost like a revival, kind of. And the teenagers would be separate from the adults while they were being ministered to. And at the end, there will always be this showcase from different cities around the United States. And one of the girls from my church, she had did this dance thing. And when they called her name up, they were like, this is Alicia Wells, and she's from Orlando, Florida. And when she came off the stage, I was like, Alicia, why did you say Orlando?
Oh, yes.
And she was like, because nobody knows Sanford.
Wow.
And from that day in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I was like,
my city's got to be on the map.
Right. And I think I was like 13 when I fell in love with Sanford, just off of that moment, which that was innocence in her. She was just saying Orlando because people know Orlando. They know Disney World,
they
right?
Know it. They know
but
it.
Nobody knows little Sanford. And I said I would never claim Orlando as my home. Sanford is my home, and there's so much history here. And then when I came back and you know, like so many African Americans, you know, we're not like Alex Haley's roots where we can go back to Africa and, you know, travel and say, okay, my family came from the Membetu tribe or something like that. Sanford is all that I know, right? Because I'm 4th generation Sanford. So this is it for me, you know? And so, of course, I will go and visit other places and branch out there and get lost. But this is home. This is where my people are, you know?
And your new tribe, because I mean, I love that the city of Sanford is developing into this place where there's such diversity. Because I come from a big city, New York City, and I miss the diversity. I miss having a Greek neighbor and or an Egyptian friend. And so here now, I'm seeing Sanford is just flourishing in that way.
And that comes from people visiting here, people like yourself moving here and taking a chance on Sanford, which I don't really want to say taking a chance on, because you're lucky to live in this wonderful place. But people not taking what they heard, but actually coming here and being, you know, involved in the culture of what is Sanford. And, you know, I always say my neighborhood, my block is the best, because it really feels like you're in a movie, especially during the holidays.
Whenever I bring my friends in, whenever my friends visit, I always drive through this area. I want them to see the historic district because it's so beautiful, and all the downtown and all the, I go to Goldsboro, I go to Georgetown, I drive all over. I take them on a whole tour of the city.
A whole
tour of the city.
It is enchanting, and it's hip and historic.
It is hip and historic.
And
it really is.
And we're growing though. We're learning from our mistakes. We're learning from what other cities are doing. Yes. We are, we're creating our own path, telling our own story, but we're also, grabbing from others. And my goal as a city commissioner is to make sure that not only government is involved, but the people are involved. Yes. That every decision that we make, we're thinking of the people. And sometimes we can lose that. Yeah. And that's why I don't believe that I'm a commissioner for life. I want to get here, grow here, understand what is actually happening, making some great decisions, and then teaching the next generation to come right on in and do the same. It has been challenging because in Seminole County, there are only 2 African American politicians, and Sanford has those 2. Wow. There are 5, I believe, in all of Seminole County. There's 5 African Americans, and those other 3 are judges. Wow. So
I know we were trying to get Stephanie into seat for the Seminole School Board, this year. Everybody was like behind her, and so we really wanted to see more. Yeah, we have Sarita Beeman. That's not an elected position though, but she is the school board chairman, the superintendent of the school board. But now Sanford is diverse, because when people try to say that we're not, I remind them, out of all of Seminole County, there's 2 African American politicians. We have those 2. Yes. Our city manager is Black. Yes. Our chief of police and deputy chief of police love them are 2 Black men. Love them. They're amazing. So we have. Yes. We have grown a lot when you think about all of those people in leadership in comparison to every other city in Seminole County. We have a lot. Now, when you look at the grand scheme of it, though, the numbers aren't there. Yeah. But in leadership, we do. We would like to see some more diversity in some of our departments. Yeah. But that doesn't take away from the quality that we have. Oh yeah, because the people in the city, I mean, I love them. Like Lisa Holder, I mention her all the time. There's so many that I've met there that are amazing. Yeah, they're amazing. So we know it's not just about skin color, and I know that you're inspiring so many young African American girls to think about doing what you're doing. So who inspired you? Patricia Merritt Watley. Oh, okay. Miss Pat Watley was the. This name sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard her story before. Oh my gosh! So she was the director of Tajiri School of Performing Arts and Academics. Got it. And it was drama in the round, and so it taught us how to proper etiquette, how to speak correctly, but it was also in the theater. And she was the greatest inspiration, other than my parents, to come into my life, because my mom and my dad were from Sanford. They worked very hard. My dad worked for the city. My mom worked for the health department. But they didn't, as well as running church. Yeah, as well as church. And that's a whole nother job. But that was their whole life. Yes. And so they connected me with Miss Watley so that I could see something outside of Sanford. I could see something outside of just Jesus Christ. And so with Miss Watley, I was able to go to New York and actually go to the Broadways. We went to Alvin Ailey, and then it helped me into self-confidence and how to speak properly, how to shake hands and make eye contact. Yes. And even though I'm an introvert, meaning I can stay in the house all day by myself, yes, I know that when I'm in a room that I walk to the front and that I speak to you clearly. And all of that stuff came from Mrs. Watley. And she taught so many African American young people, Black and brown, girls and boys, about the arts but loving ourselves through the arts. And I did that through 3rd grade all the way through 11th grade. Wow. I also learned American Sign Language, which I took to the school board, and I was an interpreter for 4 years. Wow. So she was the one that she taught me about loving me and being proud of who I am. Government came from my love of the city, yes, and me stepping out there, which I back to saying, what would I say to African American young girls, boys, or whatever, yes, is to trust yourself. And
what is the worst that can happen?
Yes.
I sat on my potential, on my creativity for many years. People would see me doing stuff at my house and little events and stuff like that, and I was just like, well, I don't have a degree in interior design, or I'm not the greatest public speaker. I love volunteering and being involved in government, but I don't know if I can be a commissioner or the mayor of Sanford or anything like that, because I wouldn't know what to say, and I'm so nervous. But being just yourself is enough.
That's it.
It's enough.
Because I think that it was during our Citizens Academy graduation, that's when I first saw you. And you were just right there with us.
Yeah.
You were just being you. I was on vacation this year, guys, in Costa Rica, and Sheena visited my neighborhood. I see her with her little selfie stick. I'm in Celery Key, and I'm like, I'm in Costa Rica. I thought that was awesome what you did this summer. Just getting out.
Because I'm a neighbor.
Yeah.
And so I can't approach you, have a conversation with you, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So when I do those walks through the neighborhoods and stuff like that, I'm going to see if there's any potholes. I'm going to see if your drainage is clear. So while I'm exercising, I'm also getting an actual look of what's going on. I'm checking on the landscaping. I'm checking on the sidewalks. I'm checking on your entryway, even though that's like, HOA, but the streets are the city of Sanford. So I want to make sure that your retention ponds are clear. I'm doing that as I'm walking. I'm not sitting at the commission, the dais, and just making decisions just because I think that it's right. I'm actually doing the homework. I'm actually going out and visiting. When I have conversations with residents who have issues, I'm sitting on their porches. They're sitting on my porch. We go to the library, or they come down to the District 1 office. We go down to the colonial room. You don't have to meet me at the chamber. Because I'm your neighbor. I understand what you're going through, because my water bill increases when yours does.
That was the one thing that struck me with Sanford. I'm like, why is my water bill so high? But you know what I did? I called them, and the ladies at that office were amazing. They took care of me. Thank you so much. And I've gotten that same feeling all the way around throughout the people that I've met here, my city officials. It's just amazing. So in closing, I want to ask you this. You're a part of history now in Sanford.
Yeah. I am, twice.
I mean, what do you say to that?
Because that's something that no one can take from me.
Yes.
No one. I was the first appointed African American, and I was the first elected African American. And then the asterisk next to it is I was the first African American in a predominantly white district. Those people trusted in me because I represented them, not by my color, but because of who I am to this city. That, to me, is something that is priceless. No one can take that back. If I passed away tomorrow, my name is in the history books. If for God, some reason, something bad happened or whatever, I'm still forever gonna be Commissioner Britton the first, and it's still, and I'm in this small group of African Americans, because there's only been 4 in the whole history African Americans in the commission, and those have all been in one district, which was predominantly black. Because they created that district so that the African Americans could have representation here. Because people had tried before and it didn't work, and so that's why when you look at the districts, things are all kind of chopped up, because they needed to have a predominantly minority group. So that African Americans could say, wait, think about us here too. But all from before me, they had all been in that one district. I have that. And to know that people trust you to represent them, not because of this.
That's right. It's because of this.
Right.
It's because of this.
And I was destined to be here because I thought maybe I would dabble in it after I retired. Never in my wildest dream did I think that I would quit my job, resign. And then, you know what? And here's the funny thing.
Gosh. I
was underneath my city manager. Now I am the boss of my city manager.
Yes.
That And this is someone that does not. I don't have a master's degree or bachelor's. I have a love for the city. I'm educated in the city of Sanford and government and Sunshine State laws, but I did not allow that to hinder me.
I love that.
And look at what God did.
Look at what God did. Yeah. Listen, ladies, faith, destiny, confidence, trust. This is Commissioner Britton. Yeah. All wrapped up in this little person over here. I mean, what an amazing story. I'm so happy that we sat together today.
Me too.
This was so enriching, and it inspires me even more. I mean, I definitely want to meet your family. Your mom, like I said, I met her the one time, and she is just wow. Yeah. I mean, it's like when you envision people being put into these positions that you got put into. Lots of times, it's people who, like you said, they're out there in the community. Everybody knows them. They have these positions already. But yours was a destined seat for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could not have imagined it. Everything just worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, because no one knew that the mayor was going to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, he left and went to pursue something else. And then all of these little things happened to get me to where I am today. Yeah. And when I look back on it, I'm just, it's just God.
Yes.
And even when it comes to my business and where I'm going to go in the future, all of these things were going, it was going to happen.
It was going to happen.
It was going to happen.
You just had to be willing.
I had to trust God and trust the process.
Yes.
Because that day, that Friday, I could have said, nah, I'm not putting my name in the hat.
Yeah.
And you probably wouldn't even know me.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to know Sheena. I'm so happy to know my commissioner. Listen, if you all want to find her, we're going to also post her her business, because she is a business owner, and I'm not going to get into that too much, but go into her page. Once I put her pages out, you're going to see what she does. She's incredible. I have some friends who have hired you.
Yeah.
So just to know that. But listen, the city of Sanford, come visit us. Come visit us. Now, you know what? Maybe you might not end up in my district. I'm so blessed. All the districts are blessed. Let me just say that. But listen, I'm so happy that she was able to come and sit and share life with us today. And so listen, watch out. Okay, let me stop for a second. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Please, people, I'm trying to grow my platform this year. You all love the content. You love the women. You love the stories. You love the inspiration. This week, I found out that people have been watching my episodes in Singapore.
Really? Wow.
Yes, and listening online. And so you all are doing the work for me. Just like Sheena, she had people behind her. Yeah. I need you all behind me. So don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. And Sheena wants to hear from you. I'll put her platforms into the description. Reach out to her. Listen, she was honest to tell me she may not get right to me right away because she is a busy person. But you know what? She will get back to you. All right?
I will.
So so look, check me out again. And until next time, have a good one.
There is no way that you were not inspired by Commissioner Sheena's story. Thank you so much for listening today. Look her up on her many platforms. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Until next time.